The summary for Quantum Teens Argo is: mad science is the punkest S there is. Teenage sweethearts spend their nights breaking into abandoned super labs to steal the parts they need to build a time machine, and they're just found the most important part. But mysterious entities keep trying to stop them turning it on. Now all they gotta do is hang on long enough to figure out why. It's a high-octane adventure full of robots, muscle cars, and queer-ass skate punks. Except the robots are lame, the cars are drawn horribly, and the trans guy, barely skates. Here's the thing about Mags and I. We've read all the same books. When I read Mags, I know the exact source material, sometimes the exact scenes where she gets her inspiration. There's a fine line between plagiarism and inspiration. But in this book, the inspiration is so obvious that it's hard to say. It's not plagiarism, but it's just very, very heavily borrowed. In one of the scenes, there's they mention William Gibson. Like they say, this reminds me of a William Gibson story. So that's kind of giving credit to the source material. And then there's another scene from Terminator 2 where the truck and the motorcycle are in the drainage ditches. Well, there's a scene in this book where the cars are in the drainage ditches, and one of the characters says "Hasta la vista, baby," which is directly from that movie. So Mags is giving credit. So, but specifically, if you've read Dean Koontz's Odd Thomas series, and the Fear Nothing book, or Philip Pullman's The Golden Compass, The Subtle Knife, the Amber Spyglass trilogies, Carl Sagan's Contact, or William Gibson's Mona Lisa Overdrive, or Johnny Mnemonic. If you're familiar with those kind of books, then when you read this Mags' story, you know exactly what's going on, and some of it's kind of too obvious, too on the nose. Anyway, there's a scene where this girl is mad at this guy, or the trans girl guy, and some of us aren't alt lifestyle freakazoids. Some of us have something to lose. Now, this is kind of a weird take when you write your character as the bad guy. This is gay guy, and this is a biological girl. And you have a gay guy a teenage boy threatening a teenage girl. It's a weird look. Usually the protagonists are the good guys. But then you have this just nonstop evil girl saying, I take you up on that, but I wouldn't want to get you in trouble. Boys aren't supposed to hit girls. Yeah, all right, you're being a jerk, definitely, but words don't invite violence. But for people like Mags, words do invite violence. Like Mags has kind of an obsession with violence. If you've read their Twitter, it's pretty violent. This is the hot rod muscle car. Okay, you have an internal combustion engine up front. It runs exhaust to the back. What are these? You can't just put stuff on stuff and think it's punk rock. It's like that's the explanation for everything. What is it? Oh, it's punk rock. Well, these look like turbofans. Those look like exhausts. Could be intercoolers or solar panels, but none of it makes sense. I mean, a car has an engine in the front. You haven't given it an obvious alternative power source, so it looks stupid to anyone who's over the age of 12. You have the two gay characters, the short-haired gay guy and the long-haired gay guy, talking to his girlfriend. As soon as my sphincter unclenches. Dude, gross. Don't say stuff like that to your girlfriend. Who are you kidding? You don't need to lie to us. You don't need to lie to yourself. Anyway, they meet the two gay boys meet the third gay guy, who's the super transsexual character named Zero. So that's kind of a weird thing in this story, is that the whole story, at first glance, you think, oh, this is supposed to be female, that's supposed to be female, it's supposed to be male. No, they're all just three gay men. So in the SJW club, they talk about, representation, but this story doesn't have any women in it. It's just three gay men. And this guy says he used to date Zero, who's a man. So now you have a fourth gay man added into the story. So you've got the story is basically hinges around these four gay men, but two of them have outward appearance of being female. It's kind of weird. When you start to break the story down, it gets kind of weird. Anyway, they build a time machine, and you get the Odd Thomas, Philip Pullman characters. And if you read the Subtle Knife and the Odd Thomas story, as soon as you see this scene, you think, oh, okay, I know where you got the inspiration from, Mags. But it's cool. It kind of works. It hooks the reader in. So the second in the series, they've opened up this wormhole, and the Odd Thomas, Dean Koontz characters come in. These are the time travelers from the future who are trying to repair things. It's interesting, but you have this when you think of a soy boy, you think of that face right there. If he was smirking a little bit, it would be better. It's that famous image that Ethan drew of a soy boy. Well, it turns out the image is right, because they really do look like that. Anyway, there's a scene where it says, the teacher's talking to this gay student, and he says, "Oh, geez, I can only imagine. You're so brave doing what you're doing." What's brave about growing your hair long? Oh, another bizarre thing is the character is supposed to be like 16 or 17 years old, and his parents have him on estrogen so he can grow fake breasts. So he's a gay male with long hair whose mentally ill parents put him on estrogen. Nobody has a problem with that? Doesn't that sound insane? Anyway, all the females are, of course, over the top friendly. Oh, no, Nate. Listen, you and me are going to get some ice cream, and we're going to watch Gilmore Girls, and we are going to cry. If we're going to be girlfriends, then damn it, we're going to be girlfriends, because all girls are friends or something. But it's a boy with long hair. Anyway, they find these supernatural creatures running around. Actually, it kind of also reminds me, there's a Stephen King book about two elderly people who have a hard time sleep. I think it's called Insomnia. Two elderly people have a hard time sleeping, and they have to go on. They go and solve all these adventures. Anyway, I want to Rage Against Machines. I want to pierce my tongue. Oh God, Mags. It's weird because Mags is a transsexual, but it's also a 40-year-old guy who's throwing back to when he was a kid, I guess. Another weird thing is Mags has his main character act like a real jerk for some reason. I think the writer is very, very pissed off about something, and it comes out in the characters. So they build the MacGuffin, Deus Ex Machina, and the science is pretty light. This is book 3, and book 3 is actually the most interesting out of them. The thing about the writing, I said the science is light. It's very, very obvious that the writer hasn't had more than an introduction to physics class, because they just this is starting to sound suspiciously like a William Gibson novel. You wish it was a William Gibson novel. I mean, I get this is a gay William Gibson universe where these Johnny Mnemonic like characters are just running around, and it's cool. It kind of works, because I like that when authors do not explain too much, because you can't explain the unexplainable, and things like super science or time travel or faster than light travel are unexplainable because they're impossible. So it works in this case, but no, Mags, you're not writing like William Gibson. This is a Harry Potter moment, Harry Potter and Alan Dean Foster moment, where they go into this bazaar. They're outside this, they have to get admission into a bazaar, and this is like the Harry Potter scene when the kids go to that, I don't know, the shopping mall for wizards or whatnot. But most people, I guess, you might not be aware that scene is kind of loosely taken from the Alan Dean Foster books about this like fantasy space detectives. It has some similarities. So Mags is writing from Harry Potter, who's writing from Alan Dean Foster. So it's it's obviously derivative, but it works. What can I say? The story works. They introduce quirky characters in aloha shirts because you need a fat guy with a beard in an aloha shirt. Usually when you see an aloha shirt, it's means the person is supposed to represent someone who works for some secret government agency. Usually they'll have the CIA guy with sunglasses and an aloha shirt. It is a tired old trope, but this story works. They're getting closer and closer to understanding the machine they're trying to build. And then 3 dudes attack 2 other dudes. And the transsexual character says, I wonder how well 6 feet of scary bitch can hold up against a pair of bolt cutters and a trans girl who's sick to death of being threatened. Except all these characters that's a trans person also, and you're 2 gay young men, so I don't know who you're virtue signaling to here. It's kind of weird. These are the muscle cars. You can't just put stuff on the hood of a car and make it punk rock, dude. The only thing that sticks out of a car is a supercharger. Possibly sometimes turbochargers will pop out of a car, but the engines are pretty. You can't just put things that look like oil filters on the car and think that it makes them go faster. These aren't go fast stripes. I couldn't join drama club like Riley. No, I had to become an underground mad scientist. I had to be MFing Indiana trans. F Nate, gonna get yourself. Well, you actually haven't done any of the science. Your boyfriend did all the science. I'm not sure what you've done to advance any research. You find out that this transsexual guy is a time traveler, and the transsexual boy's parents, they're the parents, of course, Kathy and Lori were researchers from 2 entirely different eras who happened to meet on assignments. It happens sometimes. That's time travel for you. But Kathy and Lori fell in love and fled together to the past. They wanted children, something strictly forbidden for some reason. They were willing to destroy the universe just so they could have you. Harry Potter, you're a wizard. Okay, so this is another weird thing. If having kids causes paradoxes, then that means if you have the kids, you're bad characters. These are 2 incredibly selfish people. And none of this makes sense in terms of character motivation. But a lot of people on the left have this weird me philosophy. This is your punk rock. Okay, this is the Terminator 2 scene. They drive into the drainage ditches. I guess it's in Los Angeles. If you remember Terminator 2, where the motorcycle is being chased by the 18-wheeler. And he even throws back the line, "Listen, Wayne, thanks, thank you. Hasta la vista, babies." Okay. Reading the book, all 4 books are very, very derivative. Okay, this is, if you are a non-technical person, you don't understand technology, computers, engines, cars, motorcycles, please get some help before you draw something like this. This is a motorcycle. Even in the future, motorcycles might become pure lithium-ion, pure electronic motors. Now they are internal combustion engines. You have a gas tank. You have a 2, 3, 4-cylinder engine. Old motorcycles use carburetors. Modern motorcycles use fuel injection. Are these exhaust pipes or turbofans? None of this makes sense. What are these? These look like oil coolers. They don't make any sense. They do nothing. All this does is add wind resistance. Why do you have a tube going from the gas tank into the gas tank? This is just asinine. You might have one tube like this on the back, and you could say, oh, well, it's nitrous oxide. Or underneath the piston engine, you have a turbocharger or something. But adding stuff to stuff with tubes coming out, they don't make any sense. Exhaust runs from the engine. It doesn't This is just, I mean, this is shockingly bad. But it's written by someone who just has never seen or has no idea how a motorcycle runs. Or anyway, so the two gay guys, one of them is supposed to be a transsexual woman, jump in the time machine and go zipping off across the universe. He says, it really feels all of my life as my effing parents. And they're talking about cutting off my pills. This is supposed to be a 17-year-old boy whose parents have him on estrogen pills. Have we come so far that we're not allowed to say that's insane? Because that's insane. Anyway, this is a scene from Contact. If you've read the book by Carl Sagan or you've seen the movie, I don't know who was in the movie. I don't know who directed the movie, but Matthew McConaughey and Jodie Foster were in it. There's a Contact scene that's very, very, very similar to this. All four books are very, very similar to other material, but it mostly works. Of course, Kim and Kim is an Eisner-nominated series. If you've never read Kim and Kim, you're really missing something, because it's really weird, really weirdly bad. One last thing is, I noticed Mags uses artists who suck. This story is okay. Some parts of it are even pretty good, especially towards the end. But the artist is this ready? You tell me. I'm not an artist. Is this ready? I don't think this is ready for prime time. Is that even in proportion? No. This is... Look, come on. How are you going to do that? Is that a guy or a girl? That's another weird thing about some of the art is purposely done. You can't tell if they're male or female, and I assume that's done on purpose, but this is not good art. Anyway, leave a like and a comment, and let me know what you think in the comments below.